You can watch any of my previous videos on the Xbox Series S and X for the past few years, and I've been saying this all along that Microsoft, all they're concerned about is making and selling games, and they don't care about the platform. I've been saying this, and this cements that. This thing is, people are like, they're weirded out by this. They're like, what is the point of this crap? They're losing their identity, I think. What is an Xbox? Everything is an Xbox. I remember there was a time where I really loved Xbox as far as the console goes. The 360. Like, I was a PlayStation guy for the longest time, since the PS1. But the PS3, the Xbox 360 era, I was on that 360, man. Like, I was on it. I loved the 360, an amazing console. The whole user interface, everything about it was awesome, right? I still like the PS3 though, but the 360 was that was my first Xbox experience, and I was like, wow, these guys are legit, right? Because I skipped out on the first Xbox. I was like, psh, get out of here with that nonsense, right? Like, I never even played the original Xbox. I'd see it like in, I think Hollywood Video, or not Hollywood Video, their game store, Game Crazy. I would see it on display. I'm like, I ain't even touching that. Ick, that's nasty. I'm all about the PS2. I ain't touching that nasty thing. I didn't even know anybody who owned one. I always bypassed it. But when the 360 came out, oh my God. But I remember, I know I talked about this, like, with 360 came out. I remember, like, I loved Fight Night. Amazing game. And I played a few games, but I was very impatient. Like, there was this period of time where nothing came out. Every console's like that, though. And I was just like, man, forget the 360. Like, I gave up on it right away. And then when Gears of War came out, I sold my 360 to my friend at the time. And then when Gears of War came out, and my friend, he called me because he bought my 360. He called me. He's like, dude, you got to see this game. I went to his house. He had like a 25-inch, like, flat CRT up on his, like, I don't know, like, he had like some kind of shelf, and it was up on there, and he's sitting there playing. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to buy a 360 right now. Why did I sell this to him? It was kind of a good thing, because that 360 I sold him got the red ring of death, and then the one I bought after that, I never had a 360 that got any problems. I love the 360, man. Like, I was, like I said, impatient at first, but I feel like they've lost their identity with this, and it pisses me off a bit. Like, I've been saying it, like I said, for a while now, that they're doing this where it doesn't matter where they sell their games. That's all they want to do. And then, even more so, besides the stupid advertising campaign, with them buying, like, Activision Blizzard, buying up all these companies and whatnot, that kind of cemented it as well. It's like, because, they want to sell Call of Duty on everything, but all their games go on PC, right? I have I was going to say a 360. I don't have a 360 anymore, but I have a Series S and an X. Those things have collected dust for a while now. And they were consoles that my kids were playing. They don't play them anymore. I don't like, they just play on PC now, because any of these games, they just play, like, the world is opened up on PC. Because if there's anything on the Xbox that you really wanted to play, you could just play it on PC, but then there's so much more that you could play, right? And there's nothing that makes the Xbox enticing as far as the actual console. You see right here, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox that goes on the wall, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, a freaking Fire Stick, this is an Xbox. Every single option that they show here, I've used to play Xbox games, right? And that's kind of cool. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing in reality, but it just kind of, it's changing things, right? It's changing the way we look at Microsoft and the Xbox. Like, they're just ditching the console in a sense. Then they just recently put out the new Series X, like, or they're putting out, did they put it out? The one that's just digital? So yeah, I just looked it up, and they did release that Robot White Series X early in October, or middle of October. And I think the point I was going to make with that is, like, yeah, it's all digital, but when I go to a store that sells physical video games like Best Buy, Target, Walmart, anything like that, the Xbox section, it used to be like this, and now it's shrunk down to like this. It's almost non-existent, right? They have no footprint in stores anymore. And that's kind of a shame. Like, as I said, this necessarily isn't a bad thing, but it is a bad thing in the sense that it almost seems like a failure as far as the console goes. Like, it's not working for them, maybe. It was, but as I said, I've been saying this from the get-go, that I felt that their goal was to put their games everywhere. So I don't necessarily think it's a failure of the console. It's not the best-selling console of this generation. It's the least-selling console of this generation. But if they went into it this way, it's kind of their own fault, right? But putting things out this way and now having this like the stronghold on some of these big franchises, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, stuff like that, Diablo. I mean, I don't know how big World of Warcraft is anymore, but all the stuff that like Activision Blizzard owns, money-making games, and they could sell them everywhere. And then anything that they put out. Like, I mean, are we going to start seeing Halo being put on the PS5? Is the PS5 an Xbox? Is the Nintendo Switch 2, whatever the new Switch, is that an Xbox? I mean, anything can be an Xbox, right? This is a bento box, but it could be a Nintendo Switch right here, and it's an Xbox. It's anything can be an Xbox. They just want to sell their games and make their money. It's like, it's fine, I guess, but people are confused. People are upset. I've said it for a while that I feel console exclusives are important, and I always get pushback on that. A lot of people do not agree with that at all, and that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. But at the end of the day, if you do not have a console exclusives, then your console does not need to exist. And that's what's going on here. And that's fine. Like, they're creating options. The Xbox is just it's an option. You don't need to buy it because you could play these games everywhere on any numerous device, right? I think one of the biggest values here is like I'm at some point, because I pay for like Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, and I forget how much that costs, because I mean, I don't pay for it actively because I upped it like for 3 or 4 years a while back, and I don't think it's expiring for maybe another year, maybe 6 months to a year. So I don't have to worry about it quite yet to where I'll be actively being charged for it. But I think when it gets close to that time, I'm canceling. I'm not going to pay for it anymore. I don't need it. I think the value for me is like my kids, as an example, they play on PC, like PC Game Pass. My son, my oldest son, he has PC Game Pass, and there's value there. That's good. It's fine. I think that's where I'll probably go and just ditch the Xbox altogether, because they're like, I love physical games. Those who have followed my channel know that if I have the option to buy a physical game, I'll buy it, right? I understand the world of digital, like that's just how things are. It's going to be a lot of pushback, especially with older guys like me who've grown up with all that kind of stuff. But then there's things like music, for example. At some point, it just cut off. We're not buying CDs anymore, right? We've embraced that digital world of music. Even though you can go into Target and buy a vinyl album, a lot of us don't. We listen to music digitally. And there was a point in time where that just cut off, and we stopped. We stopped buying physical media for music. And it's getting to that point with movies and video games, and it kind of sucks, man. It kind of sucks. It's going to be like a boutique type thing where, like I said, like with that vinyl stuff, where video games might, like, these companies may just completely ditch physical media. Xbox, I think, is going to be the first to just, we're not making physical anymore. And they're already almost there. You go to the store, they don't sell Xbox games. They don't. I don't see it. So yeah, I know I've been all over the place with this video. They put up this little advertisement of hey, play Xbox everywhere. I just think Xbox is going to be the first to just go all digital, no more physical media because of stuff like this. Like, they're just a game company in a better position than Sega was when Sega ditched hardware, because Xbox, they're Microsoft. They're just gonna continue doing what they do, right? They'll possibly still make the hardware into the foreseeable future, but they're gonna put their games on everything. So what we once thought the Xbox was is no longer anything. Xbox is just a game brand that makes games and publishes and develops games. That's it. That's it. It's not a hardware company. It doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me because, like I said, I've been saying this for a while now, but it's just the Xbox identity. It's just, it feels weird. You know what I mean? It feels weird. I mean, is it a good or bad thing? I'm kind of in the middle with this. You know what I mean? Like, Xbox just does not get played in my house, but their games do get played in my house, just not on an Xbox. Right? And I think that's probably what's going on in the world. I mean, it's going to be weird. People are going to be playing Xbox games and, like I said, PlayStation and Switch most likely. And that's, I think as long as they're making money, they're going to be fine with that, right? Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Bye.